season, and we called him the third best player at pastry time. I think he heard us and tried to make a case for something else.
Yeah, it looks to be cracking top two potentially. They're looking real good there in that game as the Sejuani carry for his team. But we'll reset now. EDG over on the blue side. Vici there on the red. Lysandra Heckroom there, 2 bans. LeBlanc again banned away from Pawn, and EDG will get bans this game. We did discover they were going to originally play you today, of course, the mid laner from last season. Unfortunately, he got ill, had to field Pawn instead, and for fielding an incorrect starting roster, they lost all their bans.
Yeah, exactly right. So it wasn't a tactic coming through there. They get rid of the TF as well. We spoke about it pre-game. Probably Hatong's best character at the moment, so getting that one out of there. And we'll see exactly what Vici want to follow up with here. They get rid of the Thresh, so support Nautilus probably the one that sticks out here.
Yeah, and potentially Maokai open as well. It was banned last game against Korra. He's played it, I think, in 3 of the last 6 games or so that he's played. And it makes a lot of sense. EDG, no bans, didn't seem to hurt them too much there in that game. In fact, might have even helped with the crazy comp they went for. But with only one pick here on the blue side, going to keep it safe, you have to think. And Maokai would make perfect sense to me.
Yeah, it certainly would. But they are giving up the Sejuani. We've seen the power that it has on this patch when played correctly. I think that all you have to do, if you want to ignore the score and just go to the last team fight where his ultimate hit 4 members and really solidified what was a fantastic comeback from Vici. They do go for the Maokai though.
Yeah, and Dandy insta-locks Rek'Sai here as well, so no Sejuani nonsense for him, thank you very much. That does leave Clear Love open to potentially take it away, and Vici, I think it's a good pick away. They do take the Urgot.
Yeah, they take the Urgot. I actually wasn't that impressed by Def's Urgot. It actually fell pretty far behind Vasily in the endgame, and it really was all about the fact that Na and Sejuani just got really, really tanky and were able to take over the game with their CC. But we'll see how Vasily or maybe even Hatong can make it work, depending on whether that goes to the bottom or mid lane. And Kalista might be picked up here. That's a counter pick if they do take it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's an interesting pick here for Deft. It's hard to pick too many champions really into Urgot. His ult's just so good at stopping you. He's an anti-carry, of course, but they are going to go for it. It seems like Clear have already locked in the Sejuani, so we'll have a revisit here, and Deft, very bold, picking Kalista into Urgot.
Yeah, so they're able to pick up the Kalista. Maybe they were flashing the Morgana to show that they might have a black shield there to stop a lot of that going down in the team fight, but it doesn't help the laning phase at all. I'm interested in the Sejuani pickup. Clear Love, fantastic game. Not going to take anything away from him, but it was an inopportune turret dive that was a massive overextend onto a Morgana that gave him a huge gold lead with that triple kill. He was doing perfectly fine beforehand, although Dandy was invading and using Rek'Sai to her strengths early game. I just don't think they're going to make the same mistakes game 2 and let him get that massive lead. However, he's a really good jungler, and he can probably make it work.
Yeah, he's excellent. His pathing was so good in that game. And Dandy tried his best to hold him down, but Clear Love, especially with the inopportune dive, managed to find enough and then snowballed the game away. But Vici taking away the Gnar. Korra's not going to play it here, but find into the Maokai. And that's a flex pick cannon, believe it or not. That's the world we live in.
Yeah, it certainly is. Maybe it's support, maybe it's mid lane. Who the heck knows anymore with Mata? He just plays whatever he wants at the moment. We see the Nami being hovered at the support. Janna's still available, and she's kind of the queen support, but maybe you want some of the sustain for the lane just in case any of those asset hunters come through. And I love this pickup by Pawn. He has made it so there is only one swap target. You cannot swap a Karthus because the last person you want in the middle of the team is that guy.
Yeah, that's got a free ride there for Pawn, and he's going to play Karthus for, I believe, the first time in the LPL. Nami the pick there from Mako. I like it. It's I think it definitely does shore up that landing phase a bit, which they certainly need some help with. But Pawn's going to go full hard carry mode from the mid lane.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I want to see how this Karthus goes out because you see already exhaust, so it's an old school Karthus. It's not one of these fancy teleport crazy Karthuses that we've been seeing a little bit in the LPL. Heavy farm mode, heavy carry mode. Get into the middle of the team, exhaust up Vladimir, and try and kill everything.
Yeah, trust in, even in the lane, you can use it offensively. Trust in the aim of your skill shots, because you get a bit of magic resist production and start hitting single target Skittles, people die real fast.
Yeah, they certainly do, and the response out of Hatong, love it. Goes with the Vladimir, makes up for all the lack of damage, of course. Great CC coming through from Mata, coming through from Carry, and that Hemo Plague just going to augment it all together.
Yeah, and it's great stuff. Vici kind of with the Wombo now, I guess. That's kind of, I think, a big facet of Gnar comp, so it makes a lot of sense. But EDG, very different comp this time around. Koro back on Old Faithful, Maokai and Carry going to have that Nah. Clearlove back in the same matchup though, Rek'Sai versus Sejuani.
Yeah, and we didn't touch on it much, but the Maokai pick really does shut down the Vladimir, because if he stands there with ultimate, maybe we can mitigate some of what's going to go. Karthus versus Vladimir, heavy farm lane. We see this, probably the most volatile lane on the map. It's Urgot versus Kalista. Throw in the Nami as well as the cannon. Disengage versus engage. Heavy poke versus consistent damage. I want to see who comes out ahead.
I think EDG probably going to look for a lane swap as well. Secure Sejuani early jungle, get Kalista out of the stupid Urgot matchup, and see what happens here. EDG, again, they kind of picked themselves into some funny spots here, but they did it last game. Can they do it again?
Yeah, and they've just done it all season long, if we're going to be honest. They really haven't cared what the other team's playing. They play their game and they do it really, really well.
Yeah, and EDG, interesting to see they're going full 5.6 in game 1 and 2. Karthus is here, big damage and big tanks. We'll see what happens in our second game. We're about to get straight onto the Rift. And welcome into our last game of the evening here for day 1 of week 11 spawn of the LPL. Playoffs is so close here as we finish the last week of our regular split. And our first day is about to come to an end, and Pawn going to show off today here on the Karthus.
Yeah, he is, and he started with the ring, so normal start coming through, nothing crazy. We see also a long sword from Vasily, so he missed the fact that Crystalline Flask apparently the right starting item there. Disagrees heavily with Deft, and after the performance, I think I'll take Vasily's word on it.
I mean, Deft, Urgot seemed fine mechanically, but just not the same wow factor that we've seen on so many other champions. You know, solid but not great. And unfortunately for Deft at this point, we expect great.
Yeah, exactly right. And it also looked like he was heavily prioritized, so maybe being a little bit over harsh, because he did have a couple of extra visitors into his lane, but Hetong, he's looking to break the saplings here. Very nice play. Don't want to give Koro anything. The other thing that they generally try and do is put a couple of saplings there, you pop one Skittle over the wall, and you give some extra CS over to the Karthus, which gives him a very smooth landing phase. But Koro, instead, he's just going to go over to the rules, do the exact same thing.
Yeah, going to reset. Will take a little while longer, so we'll see how this works out. We're going to have some jungle following here. I think Carry is actually joined in with Dandy there over at the Krugs. Koro going to finish off this camp relatively swiftly. Just taking the Little Wolves. Going to finish it looks like. And this is going to take him quite a while.
Yeah, it's going to take him a while. He would be probably running the attack speed. We'll get the level 2 before Carry gets the level 2, but don't know if it's worth it. Maybe he wants to pick up some extra pots, actually, because of the harass that can come out early game. But it is standard lanes, and Deft, he needs to be careful in this Urgot matchup.
Yeah, standard lanes are bad news for EDG here. Again, Sejuani, her jungle potentially a little bit more under threat, so we'll see where Dandy parts. Is actually on the blue side of the jungle to look there if he wants to go. And Deft in the standard lane. Early levels not good for Urgot. Kalista excellent at levels 1 and 2. So if they can punish now, it looks good. But once Urgot gets going, just so oppressive in this matchup.
Yeah, and I want to see what they did, because it looks like they gave some experience over to Deft from the first camp, then allowed Mako. Wow, the flash out of Mata.
That is very confident play there from Mako, walking in and bubbling. And the level 2s here, Vici have to respect it. Facility the same actually as far as early experience goes, so maybe one little creep taken out of the early jungle camps. We've seen that quite a bit as Dandy going to come in for Pawn. Now level 2 is this Karthus, but just walks away. Doesn't even need the wall.
Yeah, it doesn't use anything there. Not happy to flash, so everyone keeps all their summoner spells, but a nice early show coming out of Dandy. He'll go around and pick up. He cleared his whole top side of the jungle. Wow. I always get surprised at how fast Rek'Sai jungles. I really shouldn't be at this point, but she just flies through it.
Yeah, especially compared to Sejuani. Clearlove low on health at his blue buff. Dandy didn't go on pressure. They're going to leave Clearlove clear for now, so he's happy there. And you can see Deft getting aggressive, but again, level 3, 4, and 5 for Urgot, especially that level 6. This will tip back eventually, but Deft doing a very good job to stay ahead while he can.
Yeah, and he's building up the wave so that by the time Urgot gets to level 3, he's going to have to prioritize CSing. So I like the way he's playing the early game. Really stacking that, putting some pressure on, and wow, that was a pretty pinpoint Skittle there.
Yeah, I mean, Pawn on point with his mechanics on almost any champion. Someone that seems to take to any champion, new, old, comfort, whatever it is, and just always look excellent on it in the first few games.
Yeah, he certainly does, and we see the first buy has come through from Clearlove here on Sejuani, but there is an extra camp on Dandy, so he's jungling a little bit quicker. Now we'll back away. Clearlove evens that out with the Gromp coming through, but relatively uneventful early game, maybe apart from the flash in the bottom lane, and everyone looks to just want to farm up to the late game.
And that's great for Sejuani. The quicker she gets to level 6, the better it is. Clearlove, masterful timing almost there, despite the counter jungle from Dandy to get in the position that she was. And Clearlove now with the Trailblazer going to farm up even faster. Dandy goes back, does have the Stalker's Blade, but if his lanes are just sitting in these neutral spots, great positioning there from Deft to avoid the E. Trading back and forth, Clearlove happily getting to 6. That's all he wants.
Yeah, exactly right. And Dandy, before he walked into the bottom side of the jungle, actually looking for Clearlove, didn't go very deep, but just used the Tremor Sense, walked past the Raptors, then walked into the Banana Brush on the backside of Red, just seeing if he could spot out exactly where the Sejuani is because of what you're talking about. He doesn't want to give him that free ride as there's a gank in the top lane.
Yeah, top lane problems here now coming through for Corey. Good knock up there for Dandy. Malka in trouble there. Great arcane smash gets them back. Prey Seeker just for a bit of fun, but Koro gets away.
Yeah, Koro gets away, but he doesn't have a teleport. He'll probably lose 2 minion waves here because of how far back they sent him. Hetong left the lane and zoned him off an extra creep wave. Pawn tried to push to make him play, but he's already back, and that is horrible news for the top laner.
And some narrow lane waves missing there onto the Vladimir, so powering up there as well. Deft poises his way past the E there, really handing it to Urgot.
Yeah, he certainly is getting some work done, but I think it's really about the top lane at this point. Carry, he is 15 CS clear at this point. We said that the Wolves were going to take way too long to commit to.
Mata in trouble though. Knockup's missed though. Crucially, Vasily turns it back around. Damage going to come through, and that's too much there for Death. Can't eat these Qs, and massive misfire in the bottom.
Yeah, so a little bit of miscommunication. They prioritized Mata because of no flash, but that meant that the 3-man poison came through, and they're still going for it.
Mata diving in, just looking aggressive, trying to get the waves down to help Vasily clean them out. Deft might go back now, has double the CS so far of Vasily, but it could have been more. That kill, they could taste the first blood.
Yeah, it certainly could have been, and they might also be able to pick up the first dragon as well because they know they've sent 3 members back. They also know that Karthus is going to match back timings with Hetong, so Dandy, he'll be able to clear this one away. Rek'Sai stays pretty healthy against, but as soon as she pops under the ground and gets her next knockup, we'll get some health back. There it is. So nicely done by Dandy.
Yeah, knows the mechanics very well. Clearlove is going to check, but he might be too late. Had an amazing Baron still in the last game. Going to be a little late for the Dragon still. Maybe lines it up, but Dandy's already on top of it.
Yeah, he didn't have his smite available, so there was no way he was going in for that one. First Dragon goes over. They have the exact timer, though, because people were in lane. Plus, Clearlove saw it with his own 2 eyes pastry time, and early advantage over to Vici, maybe. Some CS advantages in the bottom lane will mean that Deft is going well, but wow.
Koro in trouble. Carry there going in. No Mega Knife form, but just a lot of Hyperprocs. Great Arcane Smash. Delays the last Hyperproc, and Koro stays alive again.
Yeah, and this is what correct itemization does on Nile. Look at the Hex Drink. It does so much work. Helps withstand the magic damage coming through, as well as some offensive capability. Just really like the build that's coming out of Carry. Means that he'll be able to continually bully the range versus melee matchup. And we'll see Mata looking to get aggressive on Tomeko. Just getting a nice deep ward down. And they're really worried, actually, on the minimap from the pings we're seeing about the red buff that's coming through. They're really concerned about Dandy's counter jungling.
I mean, they might even know that Clearlove getting 6, and that's Vici potentially looking at that as well, being like, they might be coming for a gank soon. Deft playing so aggressively, going to eat some Qs here. Shield there on for Vasily, going to keep him very healthy in that trade. I mean, it's so interesting that Deft is so far ahead in this matchup right now. We'll have to start reevaluating our Urgot matchup spawn because this keeps happening to poor Urgot players.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it's all about the early game. You feel that he needs to hit level 2 first, but he doesn't have a good way to push out the wave. That's why I like him a little bit more with Morgana supports like that that can just drop the pool level 1 and help him shove out. Also, like, wow.
Dandy actually finds Clearlove smites available there for for Dandy, but not for Clearlove. Blue up under threat as well. Pawn going to walk his way over, but Dandy knows what's going on. A pink ward will keep it safe. Big drag around here as Rek'Sai going to go bottom lane instead. That will give Pawn his blue away. But I think Dandy afraid of a tower dive in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so maybe afraid of the turret dive. I think because of how low Vasily is, it was a real possibility. Hasn't hit 6 yet. Mata is now in front of him because of how much Vasily's been out of that lane. Also just crazy scary going in on that Sejuani, who has so much CC, and the Karthus has a lot of damage at this point in the game, so you don't want to force that hand any further than you possibly can.
Yeah, EDG may be wary of Dandy potentially being in the area of the bottom side now as well. We do actually see a bit of a change here for Def, maxing the pace in this matchup. Goes it onto Mata, but Merc to aggressive swap comes through. Def gonna go down, and first blood goes to Vasilia. Ulti will get the trade kill, but the first kill's already happened.
Yeah, and that was a really weird move coming out of Def there. Actually hopped forward. Don't know if it was a misclick or he was relying on the ultimate to come through a little bit earlier, but Mata, with a slicing Maelstrom, completely tore him apart.
Yeah, Mako didn't even use or maybe have the tidal wave at that stage, so a good ulti there from Kennen makes it all good. Vasily, even 6 years old, Def, just a big misstep there.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of an uncharacteristic misplay, but in the end it was a 1-for-1 trade, but that bails Urgot out. He's now only 20 CS behind, and with the first blood gold, he's sitting a lot better in this lane now than he was a couple of minutes ago.
And Pawn still farming away, though. That's maybe the scary thing. Has actually fallen behind her Tong in farm, curiously, so we'll take away the Wolves to catch up a bit. Pawn on point with the farming there on Karth. That's always nice to see, but Hatong's already got his Will of the Ancients done and 10 CS ahead as well.
Yeah, Woda done coming through here for Karthus with some cooldown reduction. I want to see if he can go the Merc Treads or whether he did have to go for some magic resistance in his rune page, maybe even some ability power. Don't know what he's running there, but if you run cooldown reduction per level, of course, you can go the Mercury Treads. I really like the tanky Karthus builds with the Spirit Visage. I think that that's the build that is very appropriate this game, because you look at him, there's not much going to kill him after the fact if you have Pool available, Spirit Visage, and Woda. Mercury Treads just make so much sense.
Yeah, we've seen, again, a lot in these heavy tank matters with lots of CC. The Sejuani's coming through. Cannon even on the other side as well there for Vici. Merc Treads at a premium as far as cost efficiency goes. Tenacity, when everyone's doing this sort of thing, massive heavy engage, just the best stat you can ask for.
Yeah, well, look at what Hatong has to put up with. He's got a Maokai, he's got a Sejuani. Not to mention the Nami as well with the slows, the Karth as well. There's just so much work that can come out of the EDG lineup, and they're really relying on Hatong to do a majority of the consistent damage. Vasily is there to get the big swap, get some Acid Hunters out there, but really, Hatong and Carry are the two that have to get the consistent output through.
And Clearlove trying to make a gank happen in the bottom lane, but can't quite force it. Dandy almost Spider Sense tingling there down in the bottom side, expecting maybe Clearlove to be there, or just wanting to gank onto death. They've got the swap and the ulti back. They're going to splash swap in there. Martu uses the ulti. Vasily going to get locked up. Amazing tidal wave though as well, but they will get the kill. Mako almost going to die. Clearlove, massive ulti. Akoro, sorry, here as well. They're going to get a double kill there for Maokai. Dandy now getting chased. Carry ultis them away to safety, but a 2-for-2.
And
2-for-1 even.
What an ultimate coming through there from Clearlove again. There were 4 people. I think they were knocked up as well. Just sitting ducks coming through, and all the follow-up damage. Pawn, Hatong, they just trade some damage.
Yeah,
Hatong
forces the ulti there. Pawn actually has his back, but didn't have it for the big teleport play on the bottom side, unfortunately. Some funny business going on, but let's see that again.
Yeah, so they go in, nice swap onto Def. Def's positioning being very questionable this time around, and you see the big knockup came through. It definitely was a bubble then, because you see they fly in here. Everyone gets hit by a 4-man bubble into the Sejuani ultimate, and this is the perfect situation for Kuro. He can fly in there, and at that point, AoE damage-wise, Maokai does a lot.
And we've already started another exchange here. Bubble again. They're on to carry Koro, trying to peel them off there. Hatong diving in. Koro goes in, gets stunned by Marta, and gets killed by Vlad. Pawn a little low. Mako in the same boat. Pawn already ulted as Def got the first kill, but he's taking too much damage here from Vasily. Q gonna land in. Killed just wide. Somehow Mako, though, gonna go down as Carry flashes in for the wallop, and a 2-for-1 this time for Vici.
Yeah, so Vici able to take that fight, and Pawn just didn't die. There was a point where he probably could have died in the choke and at least let the rest of his team get away, if not get some more damage off. Ultimate's still available. Marta could probably go down if he just ults now, but he's not going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, doesn't want to go in. Doesn't have it, unfortunately, for Pawn, and the Dragon does go there to Vici. So Carlos also only level 10, not the rank 2 ulti that's really the high impact spell as far as base damages go. And EDG still scaling up, but Vici have kept this very even. In fact, given that the gold's even and the turrets are even, kills close as well. Up 2 dragons, Vici are ahead here.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you have to think that their composition, they scale really nicely as well. Vladimir, probably one of the mid lane mages that can make a case of being as good, if not better than Karthus late game, especially what he does in this comp. Only position I'm really worried about is top lane. Carry, he's going to get some nice things done if he's in Mega Gnar at the right time. But we just talk about Maokai. He's always in his ultimate form. He really doesn't need to worry about the transform, and there's just less windows for mistake. But once again, they're going in.
Mata down the bottom. Def getting locked up forever here. Tidal Wave and the Fates Call disengages wonderfully. But Deft is getting bullied now.
Yeah, he certainly is, and we said we need to reevaluate the Urgot lanes. This is the part of the Urgot lanes that becomes so scary. He's still carrying his CS advantage, but this is just going to be a continued bullying, a back and forth. As Clearlove, you're standing on a pink ward.
Yep, he's in trouble. Hetong moves in with the Hemo Plague. Used it on a single target again there just to force Clearlove away, but Pawn answers with a couple of lay wastes here. And we actually have a fight in the bottom side. Vasily looking for the E. Doesn't find it onto Deft. Tags Maker, but he's out of range, and EDG will stay safe. Clearlove back in the bottom, trying to set something up.
Yeah, so Clearlove's just trying to stay around Deft and keep him alive, pretty much at this point. He's got a 20 CS lead, and we'll be able to pick up majority in this wave where he's back up to about a 30 CS advantage. So really, Deft is still winning this lane. It's just making it look extremely hard because of all the pressure from Urgot.
Yeah, and I like the Pierce Max here as well as the Q damage coming in. You can see why they want the Nami. Have to be able to shake off some of the harass damage, or it's just too much.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Soraka to actually come through.
Yeah.
There was always the famous counter because as soon as you got it, you just healed, got all the armor, and were able to withstand so much of the poke. But we'll see exactly how they withstand here. CSing under the turret is extremely difficult at this point in the game. They'll probably have to recall now, get the shop in, pick up the Bloodthirster.
Yeah, I mean, used to be good in those Urgot lanes as well, did Soraka. Obviously a bit different now, but could still get some work done there as well. I want to see it spawn. I agree with you.
I think that Soraka at this point actually does have a weird spot in the meta, particularly with how tanky people are getting in the extended team fights. Heal goes on such a short cooldown, but we expect a lot of initiation out of supports as well nowadays, as you can see from Mata's cannon. So maybe not going for it for exactly that reason.
Why does Mata have 2 mobility boots?
2 feet.
Yeah, sure. Again, you've done it. You've solved the puzzle there. 2 feet. Obviously needs 2 shoes. Thanks for that one. As we see Pawn clearing it up. Level 11 now actually coming through. And yep, Observer's going to point it out as well. He's like, I guess he does have 2 feet, but what? They don't stack, unfortunately. And Clearlove down here as well. Mata, 2 boots going to get him out from that with the lightning rush there. Very speedy is the cannon, but EDG going to line up. Dragon might be up in a couple minutes, so just getting some vision around the area.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Mata's shoe shop probably not the most... Wow!
Oh, nails in there. Fates Call on top as well. Bubble in there, and a perfect CC chain gives Deft the kill and the turret.
Yeah, and that's a really aggressive move coming through there, because if Mata had to live for any time at all, would have been able to get the ultimate and the instant stun off, but just very coordinated attack, made sure that they layered the CC perfectly, and he never stood a chance.
Yeah, that was wonderful there from EDG. Trinket Ward, I believe, paying off nicely there in that little bit of brush, and tower goes down. Deft pushes another wave into the turret. Bloodthirster already completed, but ramping in towards the next item.
He's kept him.
He has. He really, look, he has 2. I'm not sure. He still has them, hasn't gone to sold them yet. I don't know. I don't have the answer for it. Mata has certainly done some things in the past that maybe we're not too sure about, but we'll see how he goes this game. Vasily picked up Manamune plus the Brutalizer there, and need to see Large Rod done for Hetong. Aegis done there for Dandy, and Carry getting tankier there as well. So things coming along for these teams, and again, the gold lead very thin. Vici actually still ahead.
Yeah, so Vici is still managing to claw themselves ahead. You see that they were searching for Clearlove with that Prey Seeker. He's 0-0-4, a lot more supportive role this time around, but Pawn, he's in a little bit of trouble.
Starting the fight here, good damage on Hetong. Massive damage from the lay waste here. And Corey going to speed in. Great pull though from Hetong, keeps him safe.
Yeah, so able to get the pull out, which is an important cooldown when he's defending this turret, because now he can't go up to CS whatsoever. They will be able to push through here, and the first proactive move of the game, probably on a team level, made, and they're going through.
Oh, Hemo Plague lands in, massive knockup. Mata goes in. Pawn getting locked up forever. The Hemo Plague coming through, but he's doing decent damage. They're going to be able to channel that ultimate. There comes the Requiem as Dandy going to go down. Does take it there as Carry bounds over. Double knock up there into the wall. Koro knocked up and dives onto Vasily and Deft. He was in the top lane. Koro going to go down there as well. 3-for-1 win for Vici. Deft well out of position.
And just better team play out of Vici, catching EDG with their pants down. As soon as they saw the pull, they were like, they will give up this turret. There is nowhere they're fighting. going for it anyway and able to pick up a really good team fight.
Unfortunately, sieging without your AD carry, a little bit tricky, and Vici found a great opportunity and exploited it there. So big damage coming through. We do have a Void Staff up now for Pawn. Kind of a weird item build, honestly.
Yeah, it certainly is. Maybe just trying to circumvent the fact that there will be a very quick locket coming through from Dandy. But yeah, don't know whether it is a great pickup. Needs to probably be more concerned about taking out this Karthus, taking out the Urgot. Void Staff, very gold effective. So don't hate the pickup, but Death Cap just seems a lot more useful. Maybe even the Zhonya's at this point. Yeah,
just not that high impact, I guess. And the Tong working on a big ticket item. Have to think it's... Actually, I'm not sure. They're both good here, honestly. If he wants to do more damage, get the Rabadons, be more of a threat. And Zhonya's is fantastic on Vlad as well for an extra bit of untargetability. Dragon is back alive. Vici looking for their third, and that gold lead's starting to grow.
Yeah, it certainly is. So it's out to 2,500 at this point. Mata, he takes half his health. That's pretty bad news. Also gets the passive on both his Moby boots popped.
That's true, unfortunately. They're not unique in any way, so they'll both go on cooldown at the same time. You can see right there, powering back up together. He's at least put them next to each other now, so they look very neat together.
Yeah, so he definitely knows they're there. That's the thing.
I mean, like, he's lined them up to kind of match like where his feet for his character model would be normally, so... You know, a bit of roleplay here from Mata. I can respect that.
Yeah, he's got a kind of one thing as well, maybe a hat. I don't know exactly what the Sightstone and the Catalyst represent.
Not sure yet, but we'll see as the Righteous Glory is going to be the item he wants here for extra initiation power. Hitong did go back at Zhonya's was his choice there, but need to see large rod items. And Vici on top of the third dragon. EDG probably should contest, but they're going to give it up instead for a mid lane rotation. Koro is in the top lane. War going to zone off Mata, but this is real dangerous. They can't even get the turret.
Yeah, it was real dangerous because the wall was used on Mata, which meant that they couldn't use it on the main body of the team. We'll probably pick up top turret, but need to make sure that they can rotate to mid because Vici, they look like they're going for it.
There's a ward that Koro can potentially port to if he wants to fight in there, but going to go back instead, recall, spend a bit of his gold. No, never mind, stays there at the last second and keeps pushing out, but Na will join him in there, carry moving in with the Randuin's. Koro forced to teleport away. Will be safe there as he goes back home, but that's a wasted cooldown.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. A greedy stay from Koro coming through. Miscommunication on all fronts from EDG. They knew that they weren't, Vici weren't pushing through. Someone had to have been going top lane. The most likely recipient was Koro. If that was the case, he just needed to get out.
Yeah, we can see EDG still powering up here. A bit behind in gold, 1,500. Not massive, but the 3 dragons that they're behind, probably more significant here at this stage. Muramana has been completed there for Vasily, has transformed, looking good, moving into a glacial, Frozen Heart, sorry, with the Glacial Shroud there. Possibly looking for a Last Whisper as well. That was the build Deft went. Wouldn't be too surprised to see some sort of mix like that here in this build. Distortion's done for Hetong, like that with the double mobility summoners. Hurricane now for Deft. I was curious. He had a dagger for a long time, but finally finishes a major item in Pawn. Need to see large rod up.
Yeah, so needlessly large rod up. Once again, don't know about the Hurricane build coming through here. Urgot going to be so tanky. Probably will go double lifesteal here, you know, with the Blade of the Ruined King after the QSS as well as the Last Whisper being finished. So he'll be relatively kite heavy in the build, but I really like single target Ballista on this patch specifically. Also probably need the QSS.
Yeah, Pong going to help out though. Koro initiates on top of her tongue. Ultimate going to come in, only hits carry though. And Mata diving straight in there. Knockout moving through Deft, kiting beautifully around the side there on Pawn. Perfectly positioned, massive ulti for carry. But Deft still free hitting. Vladimir gets a double kill though. Clearlove trying to make it work. Pawn's going to channel his ulti. Will get the kills. Clearlove runs in, going in onto Dandy. He's the last member left alive. Gets away Deft, tries to hop, just missed it, but gets him with the pierce.
Yeah, and they look like, oh, are they able to get out? Yeah, both get out from Baron. They'll be able to go back in and start it up as well because of how tanky Koro is. What a team fight. It was 2 things. They prioritized Deft and didn't get him, and then no one could deal with Pawn because he was just sitting on top of the whole team, hitting people. They killed him finally, and he was still able to do it through Death Defy, the passive. Really like the way they set up for that team fight, EDG, and they pulled it off. Chokes Karthus' friends.
Yeah, aggressive Baron and absolutely Pawn. Positioned perfectly, and Vici sort of let him have it. Deft Going to get the Scuttle Crab there as well as the Baron goes on to all 5 members, I believe, of EDG. Love that Deft even used the Baron as a springboard just to get closer to Dandy. Let's see that again.
Yeah, so they go aggressive onto Hotong. Once again, half of the battle with Vlad is getting his pull early because of the healing that comes back through. Marta overcommits for Deft. Even Vasily flashes for Deft. They're going for him. And all the while, everyone is standing on top of Pawn. The guy's having an absolute field day. They finally realize, hang on a second, there is a Karthus. We need to kill him. But the damage was already done. Pastry Time just got all of it out there. They overcommit to get Dandy here because the objective was Baron, able to get him down, and now it's just all about the pushing.
Yeah, get a turret now as well, and Baron going to make this a trivial task for Edward Gaming. Pawn is massive, has his distortion upgrades now as well, and those Vici members are in the wrong place.
Yeah, we compliment them on their positioning. Top and bottom both out of position. That's 3 turrets, one of them being a base. That is absolutely horrible.
Yeah, and the inhibitor's going to fall as a result. Vici completely out of sorts now in this game, and EDG took a while to take over game 1, but they are swiftly taking over the second.
And I have no idea what Vici were thinking. This team has very limited wave clear, needs to be grouped up as a team, and EDG just got Baron. The only outer left was mid. That's where they were going. They needed to be there to respond.
Yeah, dragging up in a minute 30. EDG going to get the Scuttle Crab here. Will clear them. Oh, Smite Battle again. Dandy going to come in. Oh, he steals it.
Yeah, so Dandy gets the Scuttle Crab. I'm sure Clearlove will remind him in all chat about the Baron game 1. You win this one, but I won the war, my friend. And 0-0 and 10. It's not the carry-heavy game that we saw game 1, but that's a pretty good supportive Sejuani score.
Certainly going to help his absolutely ridiculous KDA from the jungle. I think Clearlove has 1 goal today. We saw him in game 1 very disappointed that he died there as they flashed out to him in the middle of the game. Wants to get that KDA above 10, I think, and he's at a pretty good clip to do so.
Yeah, he certainly is. Probably needs to get a 1 in there for a percentage modifier, otherwise it'll just come up at not applicable, but he's been impressive again. That last Sejuani ultimate wasn't great, but a lot of Sejuani's kit since the change is about a W and being able to stay in team fights for an elongated period of time. And he certainly ekes the max DPS out of his tanky junglers. Yeah,
Deft 3 items now as well, so good strong damage coming through, even on the fairly tanky members of Vici, Carry in particular with the Randuins. Dandy actually a little bit behind. Giant Spelt there for Clearlove, so scaling up with the Cinderhawk, even as the Banshee's there as well, just to make sure he really brute forces through the front. Koro insanely tanky now as well, has the full tank build this time, not the Rotivators we saw from Lupa today. Back to the old 5.6 Righteous Glory.
Yeah, and I really like Righteous Glory as an item. It's both offensive in being able to catch people out, defensive in running away, so I really do agree with that item pickup. I think that's the way you build. Marta, he's got his own as well. And we see, I think it was an Elixir of Wrath coming through from Death, so hoping without double, they go in.
Bait call happening there. Actually, Hatong on top, sorry, Koro on top there is Hatong. You're going to chase away Death Vlad. Going to try it here. Hemoplague actually gets the kill, and they're still fighting. Vici scatter them to the wind almost, but EDG still going in. Pawn is dead, but he's died in a bad spot. Ulti comes through for a bit of extra damage. Mako flashes out of the way. Koro fighting as fast as he can. Aquaprison just short there. Mikhails keeps Nami alive for a little while longer. Clearlove running away. Koro eventually dies, and Vici gonna get a 4th dragon.
4 for 1 in the end as well for Vici Gaming. We said that their positioning was bad. A lot better that time, and Edward Gaming honestly needed to pull off a lot earlier and just peel away. Look at where the minions are. It was going to be in the base, hitting those base Nexus turrets. They didn't need a fight there.
Yeah, still had the Baron buff ready to go as well. Just be patient, I agree. And I don't quite know how Deft got himself effectively soloed by Vladimir, but Hatong did his job that game.
Yeah, he certainly did. Flew in there. He has such an aggressive item build, and with the Hemoplague down, was just able to take off nearly a 1/3 of his health with 1 spell rotation. And this is a problem with Kalista. She's so mobile, so good in reset situations if people are low, but when everyone's full health and she's singled out, she certainly does fall down quickly. You saw, I think even the Sejuani ultimate was thrown backwards to try and grab the Vladimir and help out with a peel, which just meant a massive cooldown was not available for the rest of the team.
Yeah, and if that's what you're doing, you probably should be like, I think we were standing in the wrong spot, which seemed to be happening here. Deft going to scout out. Baron not available, so EDG just trying to get a couple wards down. We'll spot off the red buff there with the Wall of Pain. Actually going to start it up here as Mako gets a knock-up fairly aggressive, but no one there to contest it. Should be stolen away.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And the only other thing you can really point out about that fight is the fact that Pawn didn't die in the right choke. Probably needed to die in the blue buff choke to zone away the Urgot in the end. Wasn't able to do so, and that just meant that the team was caught completely out of position. Probably need to watch Karthus's positioning next fight a little bit better. He's got the distortion enchant. Love it, because he needs to flash into the correct area. He's getting swapped. He's getting stunned and thrown away by Anar. He needs to be able to flash, reposition himself, and get... He's now got a Zhonya's, which even helps further. Get in a good position when you die.
Yeah, I mean, even the other way, dodge the key ulti or stun, Zhonya's through it, and then flash back into the right spot. You know, just buy yourself time, let your team set up. But EDG, when they don't fight together, it's just not good times. You've got plenty of Wombo, you've got Sejuani, Karthus, Maka to help you out. Def has a field day in a big Sejuani Karthus ultimate, because you can just run in and reset for days. But when he gets separated like that in the Tong, just ghosted on top of his body and took him out.
Yeah, exactly right. And after seeing the success of it, Distortion enchant is also picked up for Hetong. You think that's probably what's going to happen every single team fight. And the QSS now becomes the most important item to pick up on the map.
I mean, the issue though is you just can't really peel to Vladimir. Like,
the damage amplification portion of the ultimate is what's so important. Vlad's damage is already huge. Throw Hema Plague on top of a target, it just goes out of control.
Yeah, I mean, Def does have the QSS now, so good spot there, as he's able to get that and, you know, finally shake off some of that damage. Even the aggressive CC can now get out of Urgot ultimate as well, crucially. So very good stuff there from Kalista. This is, I think, her key point. It's funny that we talk about Kalista. Certainly fine late game. This build is all about your mobility. So once you have 3 items and your QSS, that's your good times.
Yeah, I certainly agree. And maybe the only point she goes from here is another lifesteal item, just to make sure that she can keep herself hitting through the team fights when the Thorn Mails eventually start rolling around. Although with all the AP on the side of EDG, I don't think Vici will overcommit to getting a lot of armor. I think that they can just go health as well as magic resist from here and be relatively fine. Karthus really is the late game carry that they're probably worried about, because he's the guy that sets up the Ren set. So I want to see how the rest of this game plays out. Baron now available. EDG trying to get position around it. All of the members of Vici are there, though. Yeah,
they'll get the Scuttle Crab carry actually a little late, but as his teleport deft, really pushing these waves out hard, though, with that Hurricane. And both teams are ready to fight here, so it's going to be messy. And at this point, with the game so even, Vici do have a 5th Dragon to sort of bait EDG into a fight and give themselves another win condition. But at this point right now around the Baron, it is all about execution.
Yeah, it certainly is. And they're going to pick up a blue buff for Pawn.
That's a good pickup. I mean, needs the extra mana. I mean, if he dies quickly, it doesn't matter too much because it's kind of free, but happy to have it here for a bit of poke. And, of course, keep that sustained damage, keep the defile going.
Yeah, they're looking for the zone here. I'm just trying to check out whether Clearlove can tank up Baron without taking much damage. I really don't think he can. They're going to start it off. They tear through it. This is why I asked, because he can stay above 3/4 health. They're in a very good position, and they aren't committing.
Ulti hits there onto Marta. That too, they want to lock up ahead. Tom off to the side, going big there. Pulls his way in, but gets exhausted. Fate Skull going to try and keep him alive. Death off to the side. They're good positioning, but needs to keep hitting in there. Marta zoning him away. Deft will fall, it looks like here. Does go down. A 2-for-1 trade so far. EDG still fighting. Massive ulti though as Pawn comes in. Huge ultimate, gets the kill, but Dandy with a double. Tunnels out of the way. Koro still fighting, and somehow all the carries are dead. It's tank battles now.
Yeah, and they're chasing in onto Mako. He's able to escape. No, he gets taken out.
Preyseeker gets in there. Now Koro diving back in onto Dandy. Not enough damage though with the full tank build and carry. Should have enough. Koro forced a flash, does get away there. Dandy can't follow, but Vici can't take the Baron. A huge team fight.
Yeah, what a team fight, and that was much better positioning this time around from Pawn. He died in the perfect choke. People had to chase through him onto Deft there to finally take him out, but Deft, he's falling way too quickly in these fights. Maybe he has to go double defensive items even. I don't know what the answer is here, because it's just happening way too quick. Let's take another look at it. So once again, another single Sejuani ultimate. Clearlove, unfortunately, not having the same kind of game that he was having game 1. And the Vladimir dove in. The pool wasn't burnt early. Got a lot of work done. And from here, keep your eye on Deft. He's getting a lot of free hitting done, but taking so much incidental damage. And even though they're chasing through a Karthus, the fact, team fight in the bottom.
Yeah, the issue is he got swapped. I was actually looking for it. He got Urgot ulted with his QSS up, I think, or maybe he used it earlier. That's not good news, but Vici on top of their 5th Dragon. EDG gonna have to find the foe. Oh, who's gonna get the spite? It is Dandy, gets the 5th Dragon. Vici now diving into death, getting destroyed in the backline. Still alive, but goes down to Dandy. Eventually Pawn trying to find the right spot, zoning off Vasily, but will go down there. Channels the ultimate. If he has it, no he doesn't. Koro, the only one left alive. Mako somewhere still here. Koro will buy time, but that's all he can give them.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's trying to get auto attacks off to reset the passive to just survive as long as possible. But that's 5th Dragon. They're not even looking to go for Baron. They're just looking to push in, maybe even win the game. Although, no, only 17 seconds on 2 members. They probably will be able to get an inhibitor, but they definitely won't win from here.
Yeah, death time is low, and Vici now 5 Dragons up. The gold is so close, but the Dragons have not been equal all game long. EDG, a team that we have praised for objective control throughout the split. They've looked good around Baron, and that's consistent, but their Dragon control this game has been abysmal.
Yeah, it certainly has. So they got 1 turret. That's it, and they're maybe used a quarter of their Dragon buff already, so Edward Gaming, maybe the best they could have hoped out of a 5th Dragon up Vici. They'll get another shot at it for 5 minutes. Need to dodge a fight until this 5th Dragon wears out, because they haven't been able to win without the 5th Dragon. Now with the 5th Dragon, Dandy will just solo out Death.
Yeah, and that's what happened basically. Death just can't get any traction in his team fights at all. His team needs to line up the fight for him, set it up perfectly. Because Pawn at this point, especially without a death cap, can't solo carry these fights yet. He might get to that position, but they need both their damage threats, not just one.
Yeah, they certainly do. And honestly, the Vladimir is just doing more than the Karthus at this point of the game. Maybe looking to pick up the Rylai's as well, so he'll even have some CC in his kit. That means that Death Day gets a whole lot worse. And it's been pretty bad so far, if we're going to be perfectly honest. So I want to see where it goes from here. I think the turning point is if Karthus goes for the Rylai's. If he's able to get some CC, keep people away, he needs to do damage and peel after the death cap. They might have a chance, but that's a 6-item Karthus. Still a long way away.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Just so expensive here. And EDG running out of things to control. Pawn getting chased down. A clear level peel, though. EDG have to stick together here through Vici's assault. Baron, though, still, I guess, timid here for Vici as they approach it. They're not just rushing on top of it. They're playing super carefully despite their advantage.
Yeah, well, they don't have the Baron damage that they have, that Edward Gaming have. They have the Karthus, they have the Kalista. Their Baron damage much superior. All they really have is carry in regards to Baron damage. Urgot's auto attack's not so great. Karthus, he's better in the AoE sense and will keep himself very healthy. So they're not going to rush into anything, but they're controlling the area. And that just gets even scarier for Edward Gaming because they no longer get to pick where they fight. The decision's all Vici.
Yeah, buying some time though, making sure that Dragon drops off. It does drop now, so only the 4 Dragons there for Vici, but 5th Dragon will be back soon. They'll be able to take it again and threaten once more for EDG. Miraculous almost that they've held onto the game for this long, and the fact that the gold lead's this close is crazy, but a very tight game, but Vici still on the front foot, it feels like.
Yeah, and before the fight breaks out, let's just touch on the builds and how smart Vici are. More of Malmortius finished up for Urgot. He's shrugging off a lot of damage. Mata still with his 2 boots, but he's got the Righteous Glory. He's able to be a huge initiator for his side. Not to mention the fact that there is a Thornmail built up on a carry, and he's an absolute beast. We've seen he's not dying, so what does he do? As soon as he's not killable, he goes for the Frozen Mallet. This is what we talked about. Get yourself into a position where you're not dying, and then go for your offensive items. Great map movement here. They've absolutely caught EDG out.
Oh, Dandy gets bubbled though, but he's so tanky. Mako just dodging the E, and Koro leading the charge. This is the sort of choke the EDG want to fight in. Koro real tanky in the front side, but Vici just pushing down the minions, and EDG, they can't quite pull the trigger yet.
Yeah, and Vici just refused to funnel through. Carry's transformed, so they need to be careful. If he untransforms, Vici will go.
Yeah, they are going to look for it, but the tower getting pressured. Bottom lane, though, minions help out Vici. Massive sideway pushing in, so EDG have to go now, but Vici very smartly back away.
Yeah, play around the Gnar. You saw as soon as his transform was down, they completely disengaged the fight. Still a huge minion wave in the bottom lane. They have to send Koro to deal with it. Although it looks like Karthus is going to pick it up.
I mean, they're gonna move away, but that's gonna maybe see vision again of Baron over to Vici. Scuttercrab will go. Sapling's looking for a bit of vision. Oh my god, if it steals it. That would have been very silly, but Carry is able to take it away. Checking with the wall as well. EDG needs to get their vision back.
They've completely left the bottom side of the map. Now they're just sending Deft down there. They lost half the turret health.
Yeah, that's so many minions here. Deft will eventually clean them off. Has his scimitar down now as well, but that might be the go button for Vici on the Baron. In fact, they get a fight. Carry going in. Korra gets swapped back in. Martha uses the ulti. Pawn not in a good position. Forced to flash his way in, but a great ultimate catches Pawn out. He'll channel his ulti. Vasili's actually going to go down here, and the bottom turret's been given up. Deft finding his way back in. Hatong chasing in though. Pawn gets the kill onto Cannon. Vasili's also dead. Deft, if he can find a good spot, keep going, but dead. Flashes on top of him. Hatong uses his own. His Deft trying to kite away. Will get it though. Mako gets the kill onto Vladimir, and EDG somehow win this fight.
Yeah, the 4v5 somehow comes through. They're going for Baron Pastry time, and that was just crazy. Pawn dies in a choke. It is impossible to chase through Karthus. Just kill him, disengage instead. Vasily goes down. Hatong overcommits. The rest of the team can't follow. Clearlove, he's pulled off Baron. He's going for the steal while the rest of his team finishes that one off. This game is out of control.
Yeah, the power of Kalista on display here, and Clearlove zones them off. He collapses the tunnels, and maybe EDG will get a first dragon.
Yeah, one day they'll get it, but they will grab the Baron here. Longest Baron of all time. It will probably die from just hit.
Yep, massive smite there. Just a casual almost 2,000 damage there on the Ren. Clearlove actually going to get the Baron. Mako is helping out a little bit here, doing what he can with some auto attacks and the Ty Calls blessing. But Sejuani, good damage right now. The first dragon finally and funnily enough picked up by Nami.
Yeah, and finally Death Cap done for Pawn, and he's picked up the Giant's belt. If that is a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, I honestly give the late game across to EDG now because it's just such an important item. Double lifesteal also coming through now for the Kalista. Gonna get some work done. We're seeing a cheeky Haunting Guys also picked up for Clearlove. He wants to be a late game threat. We've seen just with that one Leandri's Tournament item turns into that. And Vici now, they're going for some gank rushes. They're not that confident anymore.
No, had it late in the last game, I believe, to Leandri, sorry, for Clearlove. And EDG are rushing down the mid lane. Vici might opt into a base race, but not a good idea with an Urgot. We've talked about it before. Pawn charging forward on Karthus, level 18, leading from the front, as he should be in this situation. And weirdly enough, that last fight, almost won because Deft wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly right. They overcommitted, and then because they used their CC abilities on not Deft, Deft was able to come through and clean up with a lot of the damage. Also, you just can't underestimate how long it takes to kill a Sejuani and a Maokai late game, especially if they're next to each other with their Maokai ultimate. They're just very tanky dudes.
Yeah, just like so much missing out damage from the W's coming through, as well as EDG line up a monstrous wave in the bottom half of the map. And looking to push in. The game's still very even on goal, but EDG may have finally tipped the scales, and that tower melts.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. It's just all of the minions. If they don't go soon, I don't... Wow, that is 5... That's 5 cannons.
That is 5 Baroned up cannons, and EDG will charge them into Vici's base, killing some of the stray minions. And look at this. This will be real silly. So many fireballs being fired, and that turret just gets destroyed. These Baron minions are way too good.
Yeah, they certainly are. That's like a 6th team member.
Jeez, that's so many members, and EDG is protecting their minions. They're better than Deft at this point. Carry getting assaulted on Master, dives into the back. Emo playing on top as well, but Deft hops out of the way. QSS finds it. Massive ult to peel. EDG clean out Vici Gaming. Vasily gonna go down. Pawn with a huge ulti gets it down. Carry going to be the next to fall, and Edward Gaming somehow win this crazy game.
Yeah, they're able to take it through in the end. Minions OP pastry time. It's some great late game team fighting, particularly from Pawn and Clearlove. Really secure this one.
And they, honestly, I don't know if they deserve to win that game after it happened, but they played so hard to get back into it, and a miraculous comeback there. Down 5 dragons and somehow hold Vici off. And if Vici wanted to make a statement moving into playoffs, EDG may have given them one.
Yeah, and just for some context, Pawn, 49,000 damage in that game. Next highest was Vladimir on 29. He did 20k damage to champions, more than anyone else on the map. Went absolutely nuts, and it was just because they were committing so much to Deft. Sure, they kept him behind, but that was some sick Karthus play in the late game.
Yeah, Deft actually sitting lower than Na, I believe, in that game as far as that damage goes. So Death honestly had a poor series for him. It's been a while since we've seen him really struggle, but Clearlove and Pawn, and I guess Koru in some instances, just looked wonderful.
Yeah, they certainly did. The peel in the end was actually pretty good, and they focused it around Pawn to get him in the right spot.
Yeah, and then Def just able to clean up, and it looked great. So EDG, another 2-0 victory after a hard-fought battle, but we'll be back tomorrow, guys. Don't go too far, but for tonight, we